over here. Just got done being at Planet Fitness, trying to get this workout. Boy, I'm exhausted after all that. But yeah, I'm just making the video. Don't even know, I guess, what I'm gonna talk about. I guess talk about what Terrence Crawford said. Let's we can do this video to talk about that. My boy Terrence Crawford, man, greatest boxer right now. He said, I'm pretty sure some of you boxing fans out there heard about it, about him talking about Spence is not a Hall of Famer. To an extent, I can agree, and to the extent I can't. It's kind of 50-50 for me. I can see why he say that, because Spence has not really done enough in his career to be a Hall of Famer. But at the same time, it doesn't really take much to be a Hall of Famer if you won a couple titles or whatever. I mean, you don't have to win every weight class, to me, to be a Hall of Famer. Because I think, what's his name, Marvin Hagler was just a middleweight for pretty much his whole career, so he didn't really win championships in every weight class. But the reason why he was so legendary, because of his, will to win in the ring, and he was a southpaw who gave orthodox fighters a hard time, and maybe some southpaw fighters as well too. But also, you have to look at Marvin Hagler was probably a harder puncher than Errol, the Truth Spence. Errol Spence was a great fighter and whatever, but I'm hearing about this Mo 3 thing, and people are trying to say that Errol Spence was running for Mo 3, and that's how he got that car accident. So I was watching a video of someone talking about that's why his career kind of slowed down, because of the car accident. And you realize, like, it's so many boxers that been through some shit. Like, Terrence Crawford got shot, I believe, in the head. And he only was like 4-0 at that time, in the beginning of the stages of his career. And Terrence Crawford didn't make no excuse to say, "Oh, I got shot in the head, so I lost. That's why I'm not undefeated no more." No, and he's still undefeated to this day. Why? Because he didn't let that slow him down. Car accident. Yes, Errol Spence got in a car accident, but here's the thing that people are always leaving out, because they try to, especially Errol Spence fans, try to make that excuse. Oh, he had a car accident, so that's why he couldn't beat Terrence Crawford. And all this bullshit. But it's like, okay, but ain't Errol Spence just fought a fighter named Ugas before Crawford, and that was after the car accident? And not only did he beat Ugas, but he beat the fuck out of him. Like, Ugas had a big ass, his eye was so fucking swollen and fucked up, it looked like a sack of potato. I mean, like not a sack of potato, but a single big ass potato on his eye. That's how it looked like. And nobody was talking about no car accident then. But all of a sudden, when Crawford whooped his ass, it's all because of that reason. I was trying to tell people Crawford was going to beat Spence simply because Crawford has the better defense. Spence, he don't have no head movement. All he is a one-trick pony. All he does is just try to do like how Mike Tyson used to try to do, and that is just try to walk you down all the time, and that don't work. All that. Oh, Spence. Someone told me before that fight happened between Crawford and Spence, which I won $100, by the way, off of that. But people to say, oh, Spence, he's gonna walk Crawford down, he's gonna cut the ring. So when Crawford trying to run around the ring, but the thing about it, Crawford don't run. He fights you. He fights you back. He used defense. See, this is the way that you use defense and fight at the same time. Like Floyd Mayweather, for me, I get what he's saying. Hit or not get hit, but Floyd runs. Okay, I don't care what nobody say. That nigga is a chicken. Okay, yes, he's good with defense, but most of the time he's using more defense than offense. Crawford is 50-50. Yes, he's good with his defense, but he's gonna whoop your ass too at the same time. And that's why I give more respect to Crawford. Floyd is not gonna really whoop your ass. He's just gonna tag you. People say, oh, he whooped his ass. No, he didn't. He just tagged him. He just tagged him with a pillow punch. That's all. And that's the thing about boxing. You don't even have to hit nobody hard to win. All you gotta do is just tag them more than they tag you. That's all. Or pay for your victories, which I believe Floyd paid for his victories. And he got a nerve to be talking about Tank and that fight with that whole thing about him kneeling on his knee and shit. And Tank was acting like, oh, I got some hair grease in my eye. No, you just took a good ass punch. Which I'm not gonna be hard on that because Tank, even though he took a knee, I did see they showed in slow motion his little hairstyle, whatever. Got his little braids or whatever got in his eye, but still, and he didn't get hit real. He didn't really get hit by Lamont Roach, but But the thing that I'm trying to talk about is this: the whole thing about Spence not being a Hall of Famer. People trying to, use the car accident and say, "Oh, he was running from MO3, and that's why you see that took years out of his career." No, the thing about Spence is he's not like Crawford. Crawford takes boxing serious. Spence don't take boxing serious. If he take it serious, he wouldn't be a drunk. He wouldn't be drinking or smoking weed before fights. I don't know Crawford ever do drugs, but I think he don't smoke and drink. I know Floyd don't smoke and drink. And this is why I quit smoking so I can get ready for my career. Spence playing around, showing up to the fight looking like he was high as kite. People gonna say, "Oh, that's why he lost. He was high. If he was sober, I don't want to hear nothing about no sober." Okay. Even though, yes, drugs can fuck up shit, and that's why I stopped smoking, drinking, woo. But Spence, he was never going to be a better fighter than Crawford because he doesn't take it seriously. You might say, if Spence would take it seriously, he'd be better than Crawford. If he took it seriously, he would have gave Crawford a better fight, but he still would have lost. He still would have got his ass whooped. And he probably just would have lost by unanimous decision or the 10th round, maybe, something like that, instead of getting knocked down in the 7th round, I think it was, or the 9th. I don't know. But I think it was the 9th round. He won by TKO Crawford. But people try to make excuse for Spence. They say, oh, he only lost because of that car accident. But you can't keep making that excuse because he fought Ugas. Okay? He fought Ugas and beat the living shit out of him. And guess what? All the Spence fans that were saying that, they was not saying that before the fight. They were saying Crawford gonna get walked down, he gonna get beat down, and then as soon as he loses, all the excuses come in the world. So I'm waiting for when Crawford beat Canelo, which he will, and he gonna make me some more money again. I don't want to hear none of this. I don't want to hear no excuse. If Crawford loses to Canelo, I'm not gonna make no excuse. I mean, even though you can make an excuse with Crawford if you lose to Canelo, because look, it's a different weight size. But you can't tell me that Canelo's a better fighter than Crawford. If Canelo beats Crawford, it's not because he's the better fighter, it's just because of the weight differences. Because let's be real, Crawford is the better fighter. And we all know that if Crawford, the only reason why people are taking Canelo's side is because of the weight difference. If Crawford was already in Canelo's weight class, please believe me, everybody would be picking Crawford saying that he could beat Canelo. Because everybody and their grandmother know Crawford is a better fighter than Canelo. But the only reason why that they on Canelo's side is because of the weight difference right now. Because Crawford is going up 2 weight classes or 3, to fight Canelo. That's the only reason why people are on Canelo's side. But here's the thing that's every last one of y'all need to peep right now, and that is this: if Crawford was already in that division, going through everybody would be picking Crawford, because Crawford, you can clearly look at the difference between Crawford's fighting style and Canelo's fighting style, and you can definitely see that Crawford is the better fighter. Okay, he has better defense. Just look at the record alone. Crawford's undefeated, Canelo not. Okay, so and you gotta look at the fact that Canelo lost to Floyd Mayweather. That's one fight that I can say that Floyd did really win. I can't say that was a fixed fight at all, because Floyd, even though I say he loves to tag you with pillow punches, not really hurt you, Floyd did hurt Canelo. I can tell you that right now. I watched that fight. Now that fight they made the right decision. Floyd beat his ass. He beat Canelo's ass. This was an aging Floyd Mayweather. This is why I cannot take Canelo serious. People want to sit around here and act like Canelo's the man. He only became the face of boxing by default. I think people just love Canelo's personality, and that is, man, make sure I can cross this street. But I think Canelo only became the face of boxing because he got his ass beat so bad that it made him famous. Getting his ass whooped by Floyd made him famous. And people love his personality. He does have a different personality than I ever seen him before, and it's mainly because of his, you know, the way he talks, his accent, and all that stuff. And I think people just, it's something about these boxers with accent. Like, that's why people love Manny Pacquiao, because he talks funny. So people love to make fun of these guys, but at the same time, it's kind of getting these guys over as a boxer because of their personality and how they can talk with their accent and all that type of stuff. But Crawford, how you doing? Crawford, he's a different type of guy. Like, you don't seem like to have the biggest personality in the world. That's why people don't want to give this man his props. I was watching a video about it. I forgot what video this was, but this guy made sense. He said Crawford been going through everybody, beating everybody's ass, and nobody wants to give him any credit. Only one time they finally put him in a #1 pound for pound fighter. Other than that, they trying to put all these guys. I remember they tried to put I know who, wherever his name is. I think the Chinese boxer that's in the lightweight division or something. They tried to put him as #1, but the thing is, who has he really fought other than Fulton? Like Stephen Fulton, I believe that guy named that he fought. Other than that, he hasn't really fought nobody. People try to say Crawford only fought Spence. But yeah, I have Spence fans that try to give Spence more credit for the guys that he fought, who Crawford already fought. And Crawford not only beat all them guys that Spence beat, but he beat Spence as well too. And nobody want to give Crawford no credit for that. Crawford has fought some good fighters. Sean Porter is not a slouch. What's his name? Gamboa is not a slouch. People try to say, oh, Gamboa is a bum. That's because Crawford made him a bum. Okay, you have to remember when Gamboa, yes, he got 4 or 5 losses now. But when he fought Crawford, he was undefeated. People don't want to talk about that though. And ever since Crawford beat him, he was never the same, ever again. So, if Spence would have beat him, people would have been giving him mad credit, especially the Spence fans. Oh, Spence this, Spence that, And that's why, another reason why they made, like people always talking about, Spence can he can sell out crowd more than Crawford. He can sell out things and selling out arenas and woo. It's the same reason why I say about the accent part. Spence, he might not be Mexican or whatever, but he has a big Dallas, Texas accent that everybody loves to hear. So, and Spence got that personality. Spence probably has more personality than Crawford, but he's just not the better fighter. That's why he sells out more. And I think Crawford does have personality. I think he just don't show it as much. And I think now that Crawford is getting the limelight, and I've been seeing Crawford being out there more and more, like he's doing interviews now. He's showing his personality more. And I think pretty soon we're going to get to know Crawford a little bit more, especially after his fight with Canelo. But Spence, that's the only reason why he's been out there, is because his personality. It's not so much his boxing, because he hasn't really beaten anybody except for the same guys Crawford beat, but couldn't even beat Crawford. I always knew that Crawford was a great fighter. People tried to question me saying, you was never no Crawford fan, you trying to jump on a bandwagon. Oh yeah, then why I'm not jumping on the Spence bandwagon? It doesn't make sense to say I'm jumping on Crawford bandwagon, but I'm not jumping on Spence bandwagon. What's the difference? You want to know why I jump on the Crawford bandwagon? Because Crawford is the better fucking fighter. And I've seen it since I've been watching Terrence fight. So it's like people, and when before the Crawford versus Spence fight, I didn't watch that many fights of Crawford. I was watching highlights, but I could automatically just watch a fight or a highlight and see who's the better fighter. I'll go look at Spence highlight, nothing special. I look at Crawford highlight, something I ain't seen since Floyd Mayweather, but better, because at least this man is in his mid-30s knocking niggas out, while Floyd wasn't knocking nobody out at the age of 36, 37, 38, maybe one time in his career, but not going on a 10 knockout spree like Crawford did. He has 10 straight fights before that last fight with Madrimov. And before that fight with Madrimov, he had 10 knockout streaks. And Spence was the last guy he knocked out, TK by TKO. Wow. Meanwhile, Spence, who is this guy really fighting other than these guys named Ugas and all these slouches that nobody know? And then when he finally fights Crawford, he looks all confused and shit and get his ass whipped. And people come out with all these meaningless excuses why he lost. If Crawford would have lost his Spence, I wouldn't have made no excuse. I would have took my ball and went home, gave that $100 that I would have had owed betting on that fight. but I didn't. I had faith that Crawford was going to win that fight, and that what actually damn happened. Let me see. But I just want to say about the whole Hall of Fame thing because let me see. My bus, I gotta get in this bus soon. But before I get in this bus, I want to talk about what they was talking about with the whole Crawford saying about Spence not being a Hall of Famer. You could say he could be the Hall of Famer because he won titles and some good fighters. I'm not saying Spence was beating no great fighters. He just didn't do it better than Crawford. He couldn't beat Crawford. And he doesn't take boxing serious, Spence. If Spence would take boxing more serious, yes. And then I wouldn't even mind. Like, I'm not mad if Spence would come back and have a rematch with Crawford. I'd be happy for him because I feel sorry for Spence at how his career has turned out right now. If he would beat Crawford and come back, I'd be excited. I'd be happy for him. But the thing is, I knew he was going to win that first fight because he doesn't take boxing serious. Like Crawford did. Crawford eats, sleep, and breathe boxing. You see it all. While Spence, he's too busy worrying about marijuana and drinking and getting into car accidents and getting into shit with MO3. And now he might be, I don't know if he ever going to get arrested over that shit, but something's going to happen because he's friends with Yella Beezy. You heard about what happened with Yella Beezy. He got arrested for the shit, for the whole, murder of MO3. But the thing is, could Spence be a Hall of Famer today? I don't know. Maybe Crawford is telling the truth about that when he said, Crawford said that he can retire right now and become a Hall of Famer. Unlike Spence, he probably retire and don't become a Hall of Famer. I think Spence would be a Hall of Famer, but when Spence become a Hall of Famer, it would be when he's dead in his 80s or his 90s. Like if he's 80 years old and he lived that long to 70 or 80 or 90, if he passed away, that's when they're going to put him in the Hall of Fame. They're not going to do it. They're going to do it by pity. You know how they do it sometimes, like, oh, you feel sorry for this dude. He was a good boxer. All of a sudden they feel like he was a good boxer when he's dead now. But other than that, they're not going to give him his flowers while he's alive unless he start doing something about it in that ring and box. Because right now, old boy Spence is playing around. He ain't trying to take the sport of boxing serious. It's not. He keep coming out with this stuff talking about, oh, I gotta fight. I'm about to come back and fight. I'm about to fight where is that fighter? That guy that tall guy Fedor. He's supposed to fight Fedor. That fight ended up getting canceled. And he ended up not fighting him. So it's don't look like he's taking the sport of boxing serious. But Crawford, taking the sport of boxing serious. And he's not afraid to do anything with nobody. That's the thing about Crawford. And Spence, he talk a good game, but then, you don't see him for a whole nother video trying to prove to people that he's still in shape. That's all. And I'm not trying to be mean towards Spence because I wish the best for Spence. I don't want to see him come back and become a better fighter and be great, but he look like he's just not wanting. Spence fans are not going to admit to this. They're just going to sit here and say that we're haters. But how can they hate somebody that's a loser? I'm sorry, but this man lost. I'm not going to say he's a sore loser because he did, not make no excuse. But he lost. And you ain't trying to come back from the win. You ain't trying to get the rematch. You're making all these excuses talking about, oh, I want to fight at 154 for the rematch. No, you just know that Crawford going to say no to that. You hoping to say no to that because you don't want that ass whooping again. You're not going to. You can't call the shots no more. He was the A-side before the fight, but after Crawford won, he gets to make the, call the shots. Just like Canelo didn't call the shots and say, oh yeah, we can have this fight now and this and that in September and this and that. Guess what? Crawford is always the humble guy that says, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it your way. I'm still gonna whoop your ass. Crawford always does it everybody's way. He still whoop their ass. Like if Crawford had to go against Tank, he'll whoop their ass. If he ever take the Riyadh Dragon clause, he'll still come out there and do some guy. That's how great Crawford is. And I don't care what nobody says. Call me a fanboy all I want. But Crawford is a different damn beast. But anyway, I only got 4 minutes. I gotta get in this bus. I'm gonna start making more videos. One of my other videos I'm gonna make talking about John Cena's heel turn and what I think about it. That's probably gonna be coming to y'all tomorrow. But as for right now, the Crawford and Spence fight, that was supposed to be a rematch. I don't know what happened with that, but that Crawford and Canelo fight, that's the fight that I'm getting ready for in September, and I can't wait to see it. And I can't wait to Crawford prove for everybody wrong again. They keep saying that Canelo won't be in because it's a damn weight class. And I keep telling people styles make fights, not weights. You know, if that was the case, Usyk would have beat Tyson Fury, who was way taller than him, way bigger than him, and he still lost to Usyk. And I know people say, "Oh, that's different. That's the heavyweight division." Not really, because you know that's the heavyweight division. Tyson Fury was literally a super heavyweight, while Usyk wasn't a super heavyweight. He was a normal heavyweight. Tyson Fury was a super duper heavyweight coming into that fight, and still lost. Okay, so yeah, I do believe that Crawford could beat Canelo, and Crawford and Canelo is not that much different. And you gotta think about it too. They're going to be the same size when that fight happens. Maybe you go, yeah, after the fight, Canelo can bulk up to something heavier or whatever, same as Crawford. But you have to remember, this fight is a 168-pound fight, while Mike Tyson, Tyson Fury and Usyk wasn't a certain weight at all. They already came into the fight in different weights. When they did the weigh-in, it was a different weight. They wasn't the same size at all. So you gotta look at the fact that Crawford and Canelo, at the end of the day, they're in the same weight class. They're gonna be in the same weight class, fighting one another one-on-one. But as for Crawford and Canelo, Canelo is probably gonna buck up to a little bit heavier. But people keep failing to realize that Canelo is not a natural middleweight at all. He's trying to, just like he's trying to go up to heavyweight. He's trying to go up to heavyweight when you're not even a natural heavyweight. You're only like what, 5'7", trying to be in the heavyweight division. Usually you got to be 5'10" and up. They already consider Mike Tyson short and too little. The fact that he was what, 5'10", coming into the fight, he was knocking all these niggas out that was bigger than him. That's how. But then Crawford, he might be coming into the. Crawford is a better fighter than Mike Tyson. Like Mike Tyson was that technical. Mike Tyson was just a power puncher or whatever. That's why he was getting by for so long. But he probably fought like a real heavyweight that's a good technical fighter in the Holyfield, and he underestimated James Buster Douglas in the fight, and that's why he got knocked down and lost too. And he tried to underestimate Lennox Lewis, and look what happened to him. Got fell right on his ass. And that's what people try to do. Try to blame it on drugs, or his own drugs, this and that. That's why he lost. Mike Tyson lost because all he had was the same thing that Deontay Wilder had: power. That's it. But when you fight a fighter that's a great technician, no matter how much power you got to be able to catch that motherfucker with that power punch. Okay? But anyway, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. I gotta get in this bus. I'm tired. Worked all day. Got out of the gym. So anyway, tomorrow we'll be talking about the fight. John Cena heel turn, and maybe support Crawford, about the Hall of Fame or whatever he did about fame. Maybe get a part 2 on it. All right, peace, fam.